Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we're going to be talking about 25-45 Sharps Factory AR-15. This is a really cool setup. I've actually been hunting with this rifle all year in the deer woods. Got a couple of nice kills, shot a nice buck actually about last week, not even 4 or 5 days ago. Got me a nice buck. Things are rolling along pretty well. In case you don't know, 25-45 is a pretty interesting cartridge, kind of a new idea. Basically, it's a 223 that's necked up to 25 caliber. In some of these states where they won't let you use 223 for deer hunting, it allows you to have a 25 caliber bullet. Nominally, the projectile weights on these bullets are around between 70 and 100 grains. They've got a 100 grain swine smasher, which is a monolithic solid that they have. They've got an 87 grain soft point, which is what we're about to shoot. They have 87 grain FMJ, and then they have 70 grain Sierra Blitz Kings. Any 25 diameter projectiles can be loaded in the gun. The AR itself is really cool. This one has a kind of a real tree camo finish. We've got a 20-inch barrel with an obnoxiously effective break. In fact, there's still blood on the end of the rifle where I had it laying on the deer the other day. It's got a mag pull stock. We've got an X-Tech hex mag grip that's adjustable. You can adjust the angle of the grip if you wish. We've got a Leupold VXR Patrol 3 to 9x40 on this. This is an excellent optic, and it comes set with custom turrets for 25-45 Sharps. This is a factory AR that they offer and everything. We're going to take some shots, and I'm trying to shoot from more of a like hunting expedient pig saddle, just to kind of try to replicate a hunting situation where you're trying to shoot something on the fly. This is my hunting rifle. So we're going to give it a try. We've got the turrets zeroed out, and one of the things that we're also going to be testing in this video is I want to see trajectory out to 600 yards if it holds true to the settings that are on this particular optic. These turrets are custom cut for this particular cartridge. It's cut for an 87 grain bullet moving 3,000 feet per second. Most of our velocity testing out of this 20-inch barrel yielded around 29.55, so just slightly under the advertised velocity, but we're going to see if that affects the trajectory that the adjustments on the scope provide. Other than that, it's an AR, guys. I mean, we all know what ARs are, what they do. It's just in a 25-45, which is awesome. So let's shoot it. All right, so first we're going to 200 yards. So if I were in a hunting situation, I would dial up to 2. All right, and then take a shot at my 200-yard gong. In theory, I should hit the target. Dead center. Right in the center. Okay, 400 yards. Dial to 4. Okay, going 4.
Now you got a little bit of a right to left wind right now.
You got it. I'm gonna try to hit it here.
Yep. Well centered, just a little bit low center.
Yep. 400 yards, okay? Let's dial it up to 600 yards. All right, this is gonna get interesting. Now guys, 400 yards is a long way to shoot at a game animal, especially with an AR like this in a small bore caliber. I probably wouldn't feel comfortable shooting at a deer with this thing over 200 yards, but it's nice to know 4 will do it. I mean, you could definitely wax a coyote with this thing, but 6, I don't know. We'll see.
Sam, when you're ready.
Yep.
Still got the same right to left wind.
You got it.
Just under him.
You got it.
Windage was perfect. Same place, just a little bit under. That was right over his head. Couldn't tell. It's hovering all around it, man.
It definitely gets down there though, and the adjustments in this scope track perfectly, which is just great. You know, the 50 feet per second velocity is going to equate to a little bit of difference in the trajectory. I mean, if it's cut for 3,000, then the bullet needs to be moving 3,000 feet per second in order for these adjustments to hold true. That 50 feet per second doesn't really seem to be making much of a difference at all. Maybe 5 inches, you know, not much, okay? So the scope is tracking like it's supposed to, which is awesome. The 25-45, I've hunted a good bit with it. It will humanely take deer, no problem. And we've shot hogs with this rifle, and every single hog that we've shot with this thing has stopped dead in its tracks. We never had them move an inch. I mean, they're right down on the spot. Again, proper shot placement is always key. A rifle like this is awesome because it allows you to hunt with an AR in an area where you might not be able to use a 223. So you're basically necking up that 223 to 25. You're getting heavier pills, which is nice. You get some wicked velocities. You get about a 30% power increase over 300 blackout, which is great. A lot of people like 300 blackout, myself included. It is a good cartridge, but this does provide some flexibility. You all right? Let's try that 600 again. It's a long way.
Oh yeah, just send it when you're ready.
Yep.
Got him. You're favoring about 4 inches off the right side of the plate. Elevation's perfect. Right over the top of his head. Yep. You got a little bit of wind change down there too. Right over the top of his head. That was low and right.
.600 yards is a long way. But I was really curious today to see how this rifle would perform with the 87 grain soft point load, and that is a soft point. Okay, so it is a hunting load that I'm launching in at these longer distances. It's not a match bullet. We do have some FMJ we're going to run as well. It's not moving quite as fast as the hunting load, so I'm curious to see how the scope tracks. Just for consistency's sake, we're going to dial back down to 2. And I'm just going to try to very carefully lob a few shots in at 2. Accuracy-wise is something we've talked about in past videos. We've done a reloading video on this cartridge in case you want to check out the 25-45. We've done some work with it, and from what I can tell, you know, you're going to get it between, you know, 1 3/4 inch to about 2.5 inch groups, depending on what ammo you use. Some people report better accuracy than that. I mean, we've done a lot of testing with hand loads and with factory ammo, and you know, it's a minute to 2 minute gun depending on how you set it up. But let's just see if we can shoot, I don't know, let's just say 5 shots into a 5 inch group at 200. I mean, it should be able to do that, maybe better. And again, this is field expedient. This is not a bench rest. I mean, I'm just kind of going for it here.
All right, send it when you're ready. Mm-hmm.
Let me get a string going here.
Go ahead.
So according to the accuracy reports, I'm no mathematician or anything, but I mean, of course, this is just me plinking around here. I'm not trying to prove anything consistent in terms of just accuracy from a technical perspective, but I would say all of those rounds landed probably inside of 5 inches, roughly.
Yeah, give or take. You got the
pulled
wind,
a few.
Yeah, the wind's pushing you a little bit to the right, but I mean, most of them stacked within 4 to 5 inches,
but
which is
definitely acceptable for hunting.
It is, and
I mean, that's hunting accuracy.
It's consistent with the grouping that we put on paper before, being about 2 minutes. Give or take.
That's right. So I'm going to dial up to 4. And we're going to try the same test on the 400-yard gong. with whatever I have left. I got a few soft points left here.
Run it.
Let's do it.
$400.
$400. Well, that's a pretty good little tick too.
Yeah, you got a considerable left to right wind there.
You got it. Might help if I have the safety off. That's embarrassing.
Oh well.
That deer would be looking at me like, dude, you ain't been shooting nobody like that.
Scoop. Didn't see it. You're at 4. Did you dial?
Yeah.
Okay. You got it. Just couldn't see the impact. I heard it.
It's moving.
Let's see. Oh, you're favoring off the right side. The wind's catching you. Yeah, you got it. You got it. Yep. You're all in there, man.
Putting them in there for the most part.
For the
I would
most
say
part.
400 yards in terms of stretching the legs on this thing for hunting applications. That's probably about as far as I'd feel comfortable trying to take a shot with this thing, at least for me. I mean, your mileage might vary.
I mean, consider the best conditions in the field, you know, a good solid rest, and you're talking like on a deer-sized animal, about an 8-inch target that you're trying to hit, you know, as far as the center mass, heart, lung, you know, shot.
I'd say cutting the difference, maybe 300 yards.
I'd say 3. I mean, because then you're still got that considerable amount of energy. I mean, it does have good energy out to 300 yards, definitely.
It sure does. I would say 300-yard deer gun, you're definitely there. 200 yards for sure. I mean, you can see that group at 2. That's not terrible. I mean, considering that this is kind of a field expedient type position. I hunt with hog saddles all the time. I mean, this is what I do. I carry the tripod around, and sometimes I creep around. Sometimes I shoot from a stand. The 2 shots that I took at the deer that you saw earlier in the video there, those were offhand from a stand. So I didn't really have much of a rest. So I'm just kind of shooting offhand. I shot both those deer at like 90 yards, no problem. So not bad. Tell you what, I'm going to switch up with Chad. We're going to try a few of these FMJs, see how they run, and let him shoot the gun a bit. So I'm going to dial back down to 100. I do like the fact that the scope is pre-dialed and ready to go. I mean, literally, this gun is shooting perfectly to point of aim with no adjustment. There's been no windage correction, and it's set to 100 yards. I mean, literally, this scope is good to go, and no correction at all in terms of windage. So if you wanted to dial, you could certainly do that. I mean, no complaints so far. It's been shooting pretty good. We'll swap up here.
All right, guys, I'm going to take a few shots with the 25-45 here at range. This is a very interesting platform. Like Eric mentioned, you know, especially in states where 223 isn't allowed, you get that little bump up in diameter. So you got a 257 projectile moving at pretty butt-stomping velocities for the weight. You do get a considerable amount more energy. You guys have seen that in the hand loading video. That data's piping through right now. And the only thing that I really can't see with it is the accuracy potential. I did do a little bit of low development with some Vitivori powder and the FMJ projectiles, and I was able to get a 1 minute grouping out of it. But I had to dumb the velocity down a considerable amount to do that, and then you're kind of back in the range of 5.56, on the top end of the spectrum with heavy pills. This is a good hunting rifle when you consider like a good hunting gun. Something that can hit an 8-inch, plate at 300 yards is plenty acceptable. And most of the hunting, like here in Georgia, I mean, all the deer I've ever shot have been within 100 yards easily. Most of them within 50 yards. And I hunt with a 30-30 most of the time. I'm trying to get some kills with 300 Blackout this year. But anyways, we're gonna take a few shots with the FMJ remanufactured ammunition. It's still the same weight. It's an 87 grain pill. It is chrono and a little bit slower than the factory ammunition, the soft points. So the dial will not be precise, but we're just gonna work with it and see what we can do and just see how it shoots. In my testing, it was grouping about the same, give or take about 2 minutes. So let's see what it is capable of out to a little bit longer range, just for fun here. And that's what this ammunition is kind of touted for, is just plinking, practice, fun, that sort of thing.
Yeah, getting some range time behind your rifle.
Yep.
I like the fact that the FMJ and the soft point's the same weight.
Oh,
you
yeah.
shouldn't really have to change a lot on the optic as long as the velocity's the same.
Yeah, but you know, the
But
factory,
it's not,
yeah, the factory velocities were different. You can hand load it up to spec, but factory offering, at least what we had, was not. So, all right, so 200.
Yep. Putting them right in there with mine.
All right. Well, that looked good.
Yeah, I mean, those rounds landed pretty much in the same group as mine, all inside the same area.
One thing I didn't consider was the possibly higher ballistic coefficient of an FMJ compared to a soft point. So
Grasshopper.
they might just track just the same. I never tried this, so you guys are learning along with me.
You got a left to right wind.
All right.
I was having to hold over his right, our left shoulder.
Okay, his right.
Yeah, his right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, keep doing that. All right, those last 3 rounds, Chad, triangulated into roughly about a 5-6 inch group. I mean, that's not bad. That's pretty much right in there for hunting accuracy.
No, definitely.
Yeah. If you're brave enough to take that shot in a hunting situation.
Yeah, my thing is I look at energy when it comes to hunting rounds, and you know, if you track energy on a particular type of ammunition that you're using, and you know, you get down to about the 500 to 600 foot-pound mark, that's kind of where I like to turn it off, you know. And you know, if you're using like expanding ammunition, you want to look at the expansion threshold as far as velocity goes.
Yep.
I mean, you know, some ammo might expand out to a further range, like some of the solids, some of the coppers, like from Barnes and things like that. But you know, it's just one of those things you just got to kind of experiment with, and
yep,
you know, your mileage may vary.
It may, and just because you can take the shot doesn't mean you should.
Yep. Speaking of mileage, let's go to 600 yards.
Yeah, do it, man.
It's pretty close to a mile.
Like
right?
those FMJs are doing pretty well.
Nowhere close to a mile. Let's see.
No.
All right. Ooh, that target's tiny.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, I mean, this optic's been performing very well too.
Yes, it has.
All right, so let's see.
Those turrets, I'm pretty sure you can get custom turrets for any caliber if you just send them your data.
You can.
They'll cut them for you. I don't think the setup fees are that bad either.
Nope. And two, guys, you know, we haven't changed anything on this rifle. So it came to us just like this. The optic was set up, zeroed. We didn't change anything. We haven't dialed anything. We haven't adjusted the turrets, nothing. I mean, we've literally just been shooting the gun. So.
And shooting things with it.
And shooting things with it, or at least you have. This one, anyways. All right, let's see. 600. Ooh, boy, that's far.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, no way I'd take a shot on an animal from this setup, from this far away.
I bet if it was like
Ooh, I saw it.
about a foot low and to the right.
Yeah, I saw it.
I bet if it was a big old trophy deer, you might try.
Well, I just put it on like full auto then or something.
Yeah.
You know? Break out the saw.
Call in an airstrike.
Pretty much. All right, let's see.
Just over the top of his noggin.
Yep.
Well, that bullet, when it gets to that 600-yard mark, it is dropping like a rock.
No doubt. All right, so.
Good. You hit it. Just over the top of his head, it looked like, or just to the right. Hard to see at this angle.
Mm-hmm. Definitely a hard shot to make. I mean, that target is very tiny. We're talking a half-size D28, so.
Yeah, and I just don't know if your energy is really where it needs to be at that distance anyway. Just over the shoulder there, to the right. Look, are you dialed over 6?
No, I'm right at 6.
Dial down a little bit. I think that bullet's actually shooting a little high.
Well, I was actually holding just a touch high. So, like right at his shoulder.
Aim right at it.
I was aiming right at his shoulders.
Aim right at him.
Oh, wow.
You're shooting right over the top of his head.
Well, I guess that it does match up.
Well.
Check that out.
Go
Well,
ahead.
that's pretty cool.
You might have pulled that when it went like 3 feet to the right.
Yeah, I tell you, look.
I think that was your fault.
It probably was. Look, I know you like this lightweight tripod. This thing needs to be heavier. It's like bouncing all over the place. I don't mind lugging like a
Good, you can carry it.
15-pound tripod around.
You can carry it.
Oops, that was definitely me. We got a few rounds left here. A sling would definitely help this setup for sure. Just a little low?
Yeah. Maybe split the difference from your hold earlier. Boy, the wind is really catching those things at 6. Wow.
Not bad.
Just putting them in there. I mean, at 2 and 4, it's grouping quite well. I just think 6 might be stretching it a bit.
I'd say so. I mean, this thing does go up to 650. So, I mean, for some game animals, that would probably be the, you know, energy threshold, especially like coyotes and whatnot. But just in our testing with the factory ammunition, like I said, you know, your mileage may vary, and Eric mentioned in the reloading video, you know, the accuracy is there for like a 300-yard humane shot with factory soft points. However, if you do load up your own ammo, you can probably get some better accuracy with different types of powders. We haven't done extensive testing with a bunch of different powders, no ladder testing or anything like that. So, you know, the capability is likely there. But Eric has carried this gun. He has shot animals with it, coyotes, hogs, deer, you know. So putting meat in the freezer or getting rid of predators or invasive species, it definitely does win in that regard for sure. Another thing, like we've mentioned already, is the larger caliber for states that, you know, do not allow 223. 223 is a wonderful caliber, but if you can't use it, you can't use it. And a lot of guys are liking to hunt with an AR nowadays because it is a modular platform. They can be built out pretty lightweight, and they're easy to carry in the field, and you got fast follow-up shots, reasonable capacities, where you're not limited to 5 rounds in certain states or counties. But overall, you know, the rifle performed very well. This is the first time that I've really had this particular gun out to the range to actually, you know, shoot and, you know, test out past 100 yards. So I have to say that I'm pretty impressed. But anyways, guys, we've got a lot more to come. As always, we've got gun gripes, firearms facts, more range reviews, reloading content, you name it, we do it. 5 guns, all sorts of stuff. So anyways, take care. Hope you enjoyed the video today. See you next time.